Yes, loop the note, please. Very close enough. I'll play a game for you guys, don't worry. I was actually gonna play Black Ops. Happened to that. But before I thought I started with a little tune for you. My streamers, they are cool. Hello and welcome to you. Hello, everybody. Hey, don't be afraid to keep going. Hey, you, 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 hey. You know, sometimes I feel like a church pastor, just trying to do his best, but in the streaming world, it ain't easy. I'm tired, barely got any sleep, working hard on my about page, made a banner, but it was all worth it because hey, I made my banner last night. And it turned out pretty cool. And I all made a logo too. So why don't you come check it out? Check it out, 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 check it out. Check it out, my banner tonight. I wanna see you check it out. Check my banner tonight. Check my banner tonight. And please, that's my stream. Take my stream and press that follow button. And I will appreciate you, appreciate you tonight. And I will will see you through. Come, 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 check it out today. I will see you today. Check it out today, and I will not be ungrateful. For checking it out. What can I say? What can I say? But I just want to make some money for that honey and some water. Maybe some cat food too, so my cat doesn't die. I don't want him to starve to death. I'm gonna have to start feeding him my food, which is okay. I mean, you might recognize this. I messed that part up. So you think you can tell heaven from hell, blue skies through pain? Can you tell a green field, gold steel rail, smile from a veil? You think you can tell? I wish you were here. You're just two lost souls swimming in a fishbowl, year after year, running over the same old ground. Where have we found same old fears? Wish you were here. Go close, no matter how far. Never sing anything from who we are. It's just so hard to play that song and sing it at the same time. There's a shadow just behind me, counting every step I take, making every promise empty, pointing every finger at me, waiting like a stalking butler, who upon the finger right, burn down the path, come must we, just because the sun is gone. Jesus, won't you come and whisper something from this passing done? Jesus, won't you come and whisper something but what's passing done? Why can't we not be so right? Just one to start things over. Why can't we sleep forever? I just want to start things over. I'm worth a liar. I'm just an imbecile. Alone, get you. Oh, I'll find the center in you. I will let you bring it out, John. Can't believe none of that was recorded. Wow. It's alright, things happen for a reason. Alright, Black Silence Season 1 is now live, so let's go into this, baby. Right? Is that what we're doing? Oh, snap. And game. Multiplayer. Zombies. It's a multiplayer. Okay, what are you doing, dude? Make your mind up. This is why I'm trying to get Linux on this system, but it's freaking impossible, I'm telling you. I keep having issues with my internet. I gotta optimize my internet settings, which I have not done. And I will not do. No, I will. Let's let those shaders load. Put more guitar. Those shaders are loading up. Jesus, won't you come and whisper something from what's passing done? Jesus, won't you come and whisper something about what's passing done? I am just a worthless liar. I am just an imbecile. I will only complicate you. Trust in me and fall as well. I will only to start things over. Boy. No, yo voy. Username. Loved your vibes. What's up, brother? Vibes. I wasn't even. Get out of here with my vibes. Shaders loaded. We good? Alright, we're good. Let's try that zombies map, huh? Season 1 battle pass. Heck yeah. Of course they give me 1,000. And it's 1,100. It even do this in mobile. It's freaking ridiculous. It's freaking Activision BS. Dude, I don't want your battle pass, bro. Get away from me. Okay. Get it. I'm gonna climb the leaderboards. Dude, come on, just let me play. Director. And there's quad, obviously. I got more choices, right? Go with Dakota. I think I did all that. Alright, I just want to play. Let's go. I think it. Let me send my. Let me go to settings. Keyboard and mouse. Blah, blah, blah.
Yo, what's up, guys? Yo.
I'm back.
Anyone have a mic?
Yes. Yes. I had to set my key button. Forgot to do that.
You know how to do the Easter egg?
No, bro. Nothing. I know how to kill zombies. I'm a zombie killer. What they call me in the streets.
You live. Find the Shadows with Catheris. I shall watch over you as best I can.
I need to throw that.
Only when you are all restored can you hope to confront the tyrant who brought you here.
Hey, pump the brakes, man. Throwing Gotta stuff. Do some fucking
God, you mean to throw that? Fuck. Where the fuck did you come from? Yo, they totally changed this from the last time I played.
There's a rampage.
My kind wove all of creation from nothingness. We call my sister Kelvin.
Taking stim.
I'm lagged out. So what's this Easter egg you're talking about?
Cluster grenade going up.
I got you, buddy. Alright, you good. Yo, who said you have a mic and then stops talking? What's up with that? Yo, is my mic working?
Can't help but wonder if I'm better off here than where I was. Maybe I'm doing some actual good.
Killing real monsters feels better.
I do with gum. Yo, is my mic working?
The head is gone. As is the threat.
Holy crap. Why does that keep happening? Uh-oh. I need what they call a gun. That works. This rig up? No.
We got bandits at all hours of the fucking clock. I hate to tell you, but same shit that sent you to Vietnam sent me to Afghanistan only a few years after. Old men and their wars, huh?
Audio settings. Output. Yo, can you not hear me?
No matter what you see, death will always. It cannot be.
Damn it.
Is this how it ends?
I'm playing so bad. I'm trying to get my mic to work. I don't know why you can't hear me. Something wrong with this. Hey, thank you, buddy.
That helped us get here. She don't seem so bad. Everything here is hostile toward us. You would do well to be suspicious of anything that is not.
Bro, we're... Okay, I guess that's what I'm doing. Yeah, this time. Double points. Ow. Dude, what the freak? Yo, I got this thing chasing me around.
The dead cannot deny my aim is true.
Can't shoot him from the back. Right back. That was cool.
This rock is different from all.
New target identified.
You know. I'm okay. Okay. Yeah, something.
Really think you got no friends here? We've saved each other's asses a dozen times already. We are only friends.
Shit.
Grenade out. Full power.
Back bunch it again. 15,000 views. Alright, I need to buy pack a punch. First, let me get some ammo.
An unforeseen complication
Insta-kill. Bonus points.
Oh, nice.
For me.
No solution to this problem is available in current programming directives. Attempts to explain that their disruption of patrol is detrimental has resulted in more interference due to follow-up questions and anointing me with
None of us here are without sin. This world tests my patience yet again. You should check coolant.
What the hell, dude?
Got some brain junkies here. Must be love that.
Never. Okay. Come back, home slice.
This place is punishing, but it also provides what we need to survive. Maybe this is game, and we are the pieces.
Hey, thank you, buddy. I'm stuck. Oh, not good.
Frag out! Really fate favors people to get. Max ammo!
Finally got a freaking gun. Saved my life, too. Jeez Louise. Yeah.
You will make her sick, jealous.
What?
Require aid. There's still work to be done. Max armor. Max armor.
Oh gosh. Put another shit. No, I found a Zen on the floor actually. Just brand new. I know, right? Ultra here. Oh, dirt. I'm dirt over here. Yo, can you not hear me? I don't get it. How are you doing?
Have fun in helping heaven! I heard it's not fun at all.
Okay, but voice. Yeah. Audio. It's not there. Oh, show more. Show more. It's not letting me choose with my. Not letting me configure my output. Why?
Look! Little wizard mosquito wants to be Nikolai's friend!
Oh.
Makes Nikolai feel strong, like angry. Refrigerator! Ah, fuck you!
Can you hear me now?
I hope you're grateful.
Now what happened? Hello? My mic is off.
That's what I want to see.
What the hell?
I've been in battle with all types. My money's on you being a stand-up guy.
Sadly, flattery will get you nowhere. My trust must be earned.
Can you? Hello? Oh, where's my other gun? I lost it when I died? Okay. That's great. And I lost my...
Fall tower!
Like, what's the point?
I took what was owed.
goes that gun? Take forever finding it now.
Sort of refreshing delight.
Let me find that damn gun. Oh, dude. Any gun, please.
Servo motors enhanced from substantive temperature. Moving as the Great War commands. Intruder classified. Resuming control.
Game does not want me to play it. Microphone mode, push to talk. Jeez. What kind of microphone, push to talk? Okay. I mean, Brett? Hello, 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 hello. Jeez, I deal with this right now. Finally. I'll be right back, guys.
Okay everyone, this is the big one. I think this is the video that's got answers to a lot of questions I know you guys have had. Warcraft's lore has felt kinda wrong since Battle for Azeroth, and we may have figured out pretty much why. Put simply, a lot of that lore wasn't built for Azeroth. It was actually built for a different game. Check this out. This is a Haranir, a member of WoW's newest allied race and central to Midnight's plot. They're effectively elves whose mission it is to defend world trees. Now take a look at this. This is a Haranar, an elf whose mission it is to defend the world trees. Just in the 2012 role-playing game, Kingdoms of Amalur. And there is a connection between these two games. The connection is WoW's ex-narrative director, Steve Denuser, who was head of intellectual property at Amalur. Basically, he was their lore guy. He then moved to Blizzard as a senior narrative designer, and then when Chris Metzen left, he became narrative director. He became WoW's lore guy. Now, always in a video like this, there's a bit of responsibility, right? So, to be very clear, a person is being talked about and these connections are being made because of the title director, right? That's basically the point. When you are a director, yeah, I think it is fair to talk about work in public. I understand not everyone may agree with that, but those are my own personal standards. This is my channel, and it's totally fine if that's not okay with you. But I do think this is relevant, and I do think this helps put things in context for people. So based on all this, we went deep into Amalur's lore. We found some other connections, and it quickly became clear. There were many lore beats lifted near wholesale from one setting and transplanted into the other. And that's when it struck us. Shadowlands, Dragonflight, and now part of the World Soul saga don't feel wrong because they're bad. I think they feel a little bit wrong because they were molded in another game, but then baked in Blizzard's oven. Why did Warcraft need a machinery of death? Why were there so many primalists in Dragonflight? Where the hell did they come from? Why were they so powerful? Why is Elune being the Summer Queen something bizarre that makes near zero sense and really does not mesh comfortably with prior lore? And what the hell is an Arathi, or should I say, an Irathi, spelt with an E, or another race from Amalur? Well, they are all things that are creations under the directorship of Steve Denuser, and they all predate his work at Blizzard Entertainment. But before we begin, I want to be very clear, this is not a hit piece. Amalur's lore actually goes really hard. Fair play to Steve, actually. The Amalur lore goes hard. I wish we got more of that world and that they actually got to make the MMO that they always dreamed of making. It's a game that many love, even so much so that it actually did get a remaster. It's fairly excellent, it has a phenomenal backstory. What I'm saying, though, is I think we now know why a lot of this lore doesn't really fit in World of Warcraft. It wasn't built to fit in World of Warcraft. It came, in great part, from somewhere else. So, let's get stuck in, and let's see just how much of Amalur wound up in World of Warcraft. Now, there is one other thing, and it's more important if you're, say, a Discord user, because Discord got hacked. That's just one of the many stories of data breaches, and these security breaches, and even invasive people search sites that are down below. Denuser worked on World of Warcraft from 2015 to 2024. That is, the Legion expansion through to the pre-production of The War Within. And during that time, he replaced Chris Metzen and became the lead narrative designer. Big job, big responsibility, and here's how he earned that. So, Steve got his start at Sony Online Entertainment, and, in his own words, built the EverQuest 2 community from the ground up. Writing lore was always his strength, and he eventually transitioned towards game design, heading story creation for adventure packs and for expansions. But his big break was 38 Studios' Kingdom of Amalur. It had some huge names attached. Ken Rawlinson, lead designer in Morrowind and Oblivion, R.A. Salvatore, a veteran fantasy author, and art design from Todd McFarlane, who is founder of Image Comics and the creator of Spawn. All of those huge lore names, and Steve was their lore guy, the one tying it all together. He created that game's immense backstory and timeline, building out enough content to actually support several games in the same franchise, because 38 Studios was always trying to get toward building a massive MMO. Of course, only one of those games was ever released, and it seems the rest was stuck in Steve's head. That is, until he joined Blizzard, and that's where we begin to see some timelines bleeding into each other. But to be clear, he did not join Blizzard at a easy time. It was a company in flux with deep personnel problems. By the time of the War Within, Chris Metzen is no longer at the company. He had retired, and apparently the last thing he worked on was the Battle for Azeroth cinematic. And in fairness, had the expansion felt like that cinematic, it probably would have been a banger. Now, the man who replaced him was not Steve Denuser, it was Alex Afrasabi, and he was building one of the most controversial storylines in World of Warcraft's history ever. This truly is the case. Certainly, a lot of us in the scene have heard things, and, well, even publicly, Alex was the person named in the big Activision Blizzard lawsuit that just kicked off the entire chain of events that led to a lot of changes at Blizzard, but also basically facilitated the acquisition, right? Now, he was really running things into the ground. And from what we understand, substance abuse issues were also present around the time that lore decisions started getting more and more and more crazy. There was a rather infamous interview about Sylvanas' motivations essentially being retconned for the Wrathgate cinematic. You may remember that if you were terminally online in WoW spaces back then, as I was. Now, by Sylvanas' side was Nethanos, who the community have widely read as Steve Denuser's Dark Mirror self-insert. Of course, some of that is some community banter, some of that does go too far, but we didn't really know it at the time. What would happen is that storyline ended up barreling towards the Shadowlands, and that's really when Steve got his first opportunity to lay down the lore. And before we go into this, you need to remember that a lot of the decisions being made in situations like this happen way before you actually see the content. And it was relatively shortly after the Battle for Azeroth expansion came out that Alex quietly left the company. And rather obviously, we kind of know where that was all leading. Now, around that time, well, Shadowlands pre-production starts, and we start seeing Battle for Azeroth stuff move in the Shadowlands-y direction. Now, we turned up in the Shadowlands, and what did we find? We found that the machinery of death was broken. I suppose we didn't even know that there was a machinery of death, but here it was. And with it being broken, so too was fate itself. We were hailed as the Mawwalker, the coolest title a fantasy game has ever made. You're the Mawwalker, foretold, or not, by the first ones to defeat the Jailer, who may or may not have been part of their plans. It was all a lot. It was all a bit strange. And this is the first time we are going to cut to Kingdoms of Amalur. In Kingdoms of Amalur, the game opens with a corpse being resurrected. That corpse is you. And we find ourselves in the middle of the Crystal Wars, where the immortal Fae are absolutely trouncing the mortals. Why are they winning? Well, they're winning because the Fae can resurrect themselves through the machinery of death, and the rest of Amalur can't. So, some gnomes then destroy the machinery of death, and in doing so, break fate itself. Which does rather sound Shadowlands-y, doesn't it? I mean, the framing for Amalur and Shadowlands are just remarkably similar. But why did this feel odd in World of Warcraft? Well, in Amalur, the player character is known as the Fateless One. They basically have this fate-breaking aura around them. Battles foretold to be lost can be suddenly won with the player's intervention, and with that power, the tide turns against the immortal Fae. I think it's actually a great conceit at the heart of that game. You can fight gods because your mere presence messes with their powers. But then we're told, in World of Warcraft, that we've also got this special essence that means no one in the Shadowlands can predict our next move, and somehow ties our connection to Azeroth. It's a whole new dimension to our powers that we've never really heard of, and it doesn't end up making sense. Much later on in Dragonflight, during the Tearsguard heist on Ellison to the Nightwell, she tells us that we've got some special fate-breaking power, which rather came out of nowhere. But that's just the beginning. To really hit things, let's go to Ardenweald, because they put Irish people in World of Warcraft. And guess what? Most of us in this team are from Ireland. So yeah, we can talk about this bit for sure. In the Court of the Winter Fae, Gadflo the Bard takes High King Mathron's crown as a joke, but instead of returning it, he actually kills the king.
Can you just hold up your chart and just talk us through what you have written?
No.
Get out of here, dude.
Cody, I hope you're having fun doing this. Slayer, baby. Well, you guys know how much I love Slayer, so we gotta check this one out. Cody Ash, the drummer of Jelly Roll, hears Slayer for the first time. Let's go.
What would make you the most nervous if we were to give you something? Like what style of music?
Someone like Animals as leaders of Gojira, because they're just anything that's a 7-minute song would be nerve-wracking.
Well, you might be in for a treat. We have a whole bunch prepped.
Hot dog. Is he drunk already? Oh. It's time for Slayer, baby. Of course, showing him the drumless track so he can create his own parts without even knowing what it's supposed to sound like.
Do they sing? I have no idea what this is. There's no vocal or anything?
There is.
It hasn't came yet?
There will be.
What? No. I had no idea. It's Metallica, obviously. I have never heard this.
No, not today.
It sounds like Metallica. Who is this?
Cody! It's okay.
That's crazy.
He will be educated today.
You asked me not to give you a 7-minute song, so I gave you a 6-minute and 35-second song. So you're welcome.
Not Pantera, not Metallica, not Megadeth. I have no idea.
Well, you're gonna get to learn this however you want.
Jeez.
So,
oh, I'm about to piss so many people in the metal world off. I'm gonna play this so wrong. I'm gonna play with.
Still gonna be great.
I'll start writing stuff out.
Just getting a feel for what he wants to do. Trying a little double time. Nice.
dude, not bad for a first take.
Oh, look at that sweat. He's a sweaty guy.
Can you just hold up your chart and just talk us through what you have written?
No.
Get out of here, dude.
No.
You know what? No. I don't know this song. The system that I found easiest was just to write out the whole song like measure by measure, and you can, when you're doing that, I found that you can hear the changes in guitars and where like you can learn how to read where transitions are going, or like the way that the song is moving. You can hear that it's about to revisit a part from earlier, or they're going to create a new part, or it's going into like a chorus, and so like writing it out like this has maybe kind of helped realize that. Very
absolutely
rocking metal.
Smart guy.
Who says that? Very rocking. Like my fucking grandma, dude. I love my grandma. You want to run it?
You want to do a final take?
I think I can do a final take. I think we'll be all right. I gotta take care of something outside real quick though. Do we have a minute?
Yeah, sure.
All right, let me 1 second. I'll be right back. You're gonna do
Where's
good.
he going?
You got the song. You're fine.
You know, as drummers, we practice over and over and over to keep getting better. But when it comes to mental health, most of us don't practice taking care of ourselves in the same way. And having someone to help guide you can make a huge difference. So this reaction video is in paid partnership with BetterHelp. Whether you're graduating or changing careers, becoming a parent, or even facing an empty nest, these are pretty heavy things to deal with. So if you ever feel lost or down and you need someone to talk to, do yourself a huge favor, check out BetterHelp. They are on a mission to make starting therapy easier than ever before. Just fill out a simple questionnaire and you'll be matched with a therapist as soon as possible. Your therapist will listen and even help you see things from a new perspective. They can also give you advice and techniques to make those positive changes in your life. And if for some reason your therapist isn't the right fit for you, you can switch to a new one at no extra cost. With over 7,000.com/66samus, I will put the link down below in the description for you, and thank you so much, BetterHelp. Final take, here we go. Little displaced snare hit there. Absolutely works. These toms are thunderous. Nice little ghost notes in there. Oh shit! Putting drums in the break. That's okay, he doesn't know. It still works, still sounds good. He's gonna throw any triplets in here? Damn it! That's okay though. Cannot expect it. Nice. Nice and heavy. Different accents. Right into a pump. Oh, that's mighty. That was an explosive fill. He's kicking it up now a little bit. He's got good double bass chops. More double bass. Plus. He's nailing those punches, dude. I love that. Damn. This is so good, dude. He's fucking killing it. Oh, cool fill. He's consistent with adding the double bass there. Love it. Cody, I hope you're having fun doing this. Fucking Slayer, baby. Nice. I like it. Man, he hits fucking hard. Woo! Who did it? Little extra snare. Oh! And the Portnoy fill. fill so far. Holy shit. I wonder what he's gonna think when he hears the actual, like, the crash accents for that part. I think they'll like it. Crashing on the ride. Sounds good. Oh, he's at Mach 22 now. Cody, this is fucking great, man. Oh! Holy shit, let's go! Holy fucking ball sacks. That was so fucking good.
Yeah, there it is.
Well done, man. That was killer.
Amazing.
That was so fun.
Hell yeah, it is.
Now we can finally tell you what this is.
Please, for the love of God, tell me.
So, you guessed Pantera.
Yeah.
You guessed Metallica.
Yeah. Anthrax?
Not Anthrax.
Close.
You also guessed Megadeth, which was, I guess, the other 3 of the 4.
I was gonna say Big 4, yep.
Slayer.
Carrie King.
That's right.
Oh, he knows Kerry King.
This came out in 1990. This is
Well, how do you not know Kerry King, right?
Seasons in the Abyss with Dave Lombardo on drums. This music video was
the
recorded
god.
in the pyramids in Egypt.
Of course it was. That sounds like a super Slayer thing to do. That was a lot of fun to play. That was like, it got like really heavy.
Totally. So here's the original with...
Dude, Slayer gets that blood flowing.
And here's
Boing!
Oh, what? I didn't expect that. On the ride is crazy. Cool though.
Oh, you're...
Oh, then he goes straight. Ah! All right, dude.
Oh, that fill. He did something pretty similar, though. That was sick, dude. Those Portnoy fills he was doing.
Oh, what? Hey!
Oh, get a taste of that high
Well,
tom.
you
Yum
know,
yums. Plus.
That's sick. I did not. Yeah. He definitely thinks differently.
We'll see you at the tailgate party.
Hey, let's freaking yo! I'm there. Let's go! Ah!
Okay, final verdict. I'm giving him a 10 out of 10. Pretty much all the beats he played sounded excellent. Even if they weren't the original parts, they still worked. Oh, that was great. Plus, Cody just seems like he's genuinely a fucking awesome dude. I feel like he'd be a lot of fun to hang out with. So, just for that, we're gonna give him 1 extra point and make it 11 out of 10. So that's half of what? Thank you guys for watching with me. Go subscribe to Drumeo. Go subscribe to Cody. And while you're at it, you know, I'll take a little bit of that sex too. Fucking love you, chodes. See you next time. Mike Portnoy, one of my favorite drummers of all time. He was recently at the Drumeo Studios filming some excellent content, so today we're gonna sit around the campfire and enjoy it together. We're gonna watch him play Panic Attack, As I Am, and for the finale, we'll watch the clip where Mike hears a Nickelback song for the first time. This is gonna be a good one. So let's kick it right off with Panic Attack. Go! Yes, dude, I love Portnoy. Let's do this. Diarrhea blast. Welcome. Oh, it's so good. Daddy's back. I love the kit he's got for this Drumeo stuff. Much smaller than his usual kit, but it's okay. Here we go. The choir in there, dude, it's evil. Saying it right now, this is gonna be fucking amazing. It's Mike Portnoy, dude. He still plays with the butt end of his left stick for the extra fat snares. Double bass.
Do you all remember the classic WoW launch in 2019? It was a massive hit. We don't have official numbers, but what we did have were servers so full they needed their own queue to get into queue. Twitch viewership broke records, marriages collapsed.
Wife aggro? Alright, oh, we gotta kick this dude. We need somebody else.
And children became self-raising.
Gaylord man says just call the bull over and keep playing.
It was by all metrics a resounding success. But eventually, the hype died down. Now, it's important to realize WoW has never been an entertaining game to watch for outsiders. Hell, most WoW players don't like watching WoW unless they are just trying to learn how to play. Maybe it's the confusing HUD, or maybe it's because there might be a lot going on up here. But from the perspective of most, the UI resembles a stock trading terminal designed by a fantasy author on Adderall. There's damage numbers, quest logs, cooldown trackers, and somewhere, possibly behind the health bar, is a video game. But something was about to change everything. A small community of gamers started attempting hardcore runs. The rules were clear. Death equals delete. No exceptions. If you've never played an MMO, it's hard to comprehend how insane this idea was. Deaths happen all the time in MMOs, and it can take weeks, if not months, for most people to level a character and obtain
"14 playable races, 12 allied races, 13 playable classes, and dozens of specializations. This is the essence of Warcraft, and naturally, for a variety of reasons, some classes, races, or specializations end up far less popular than others. Some players dislike the gameplay, the visuals, the aesthetics, the lore background, the animations. The list of reasons can be endless. Today, I want to take a look at the least popular races in World of Warcraft, and talk about what exactly went wrong. Back in original vanilla, the demographic landscape looked completely different from what we see today, and a great example of this is the undead, who were the most popular, or at least one of the most popular, races in the entire game. Yes, of course, the roster of available races back then was far smaller than it is now, but for many players, the undead were the embodiment of a cool, sinister race. The bad guys of Warcraft. Their atmosphere, their tragic backstory, their aesthetics. All of this attracted a huge number of players. Let's take a look at the numbers from 2005, when World of Warcraft was still a brand new adventure for most people, overflowing with newcomers eager to conquer Azeroth. According to Warcraft Realms, the undead made up 14% of the entire global population, including alliance races. That effectively made them the most popular race in the Horde. There were nearly twice as many undead players as troll players, but things changed dramatically with the release of the Burning Crusade and the introduction of the Blood Elves. Although the race was initially met with skepticism, largely due to an awkward early design that made them look too slender, they very quickly skyrocketed in popularity. Before long, the Blood Elves surged to the top and easily overtook the undead. By the end of Burning Crusade, they represented 15% of the entire population, and that was with more total races added to the game. Meanwhile, the undead dropped from 14% in vanilla to 11%. The trend continued for years. By Legion, the undead had fallen to the same share as the trolls, a race they once outnumbered nearly 2-to-1. Meanwhile, the Blood Elves, despite the fact that Vorgan, Goblins, and Pandaren had been added since Burning Crusade, rose even further. Their share grew from 15% to an enormous 20%. According to more recent data from Data for Azeroth, the undead now make up 3.6% of the global player base. If you remove all the newer races and look only at the classic Horde roster, Orcs, Trolls, Tauren, and Undead, the Undead have fallen from a confident first place in vanilla all the way down to last place. Still, in absolute numbers, considering the abundance of all playable and allied races today, there are quite a lot of them. But if we're talking about races that are truly rare, the ones that barely register on the charts, then nobody compares to the Earthen. This allied race is unique. Earthen can belong to either the Alliance or the Horde, and yet in both factions, as of 2025, they are the least popular race in the entire game. Combined across both factions, they make up only 0.9% of all players, with slightly fewer in the Alliance than in the Horde. Lore-wise, the Earthen have a long history. Even though we were only recently allowed to play as them, they've existed in World of Warcraft for a very long time. They were created by the Titans shortly after the defeat and imprisonment of the Old Gods. Formed from living stone, their bodies were as tough as armor. The Earthen and several other Titan-forged races were meant to help shape and order Azeroth, but then came the Curse of Flesh, an event that transformed Titan-forged beings, made of stone, metal, and other primordial materials, into mortal creatures of flesh and blood. Instead of near immortality, they became beings with lifespans of a few centuries at best, a mere blink in the cosmic scale of Warcraft. Many Earthen eventually evolved into dwarves, but some remained untouched by the curse, and we've encountered them across multiple expansions. In Wrath of the Lich King, for example, Earthen fought alongside heroes against their corrupted brethren, the Iron Dwarves, many of whom had fallen under the influence of the Old Gods. In Legion, we helped the Earthen and other races reclaim control over the Uldua complex. And in the current expansion, The War Within, they have become one of our key allies, especially in the campaign against the Nerubians. Although the Earthen initially greeted the champions of Azeroth with caution and distrust, those fears quickly faded once we helped them repel the Nerubians, and repeatedly came to their aid. Their capital even became one of the main hubs of the entire expansion, so why are they still so unpopular? First of all, the option to play as them is very recent, so naturally their numbers will grow over time. But for now, many players simply had no compelling reason to switch to them, especially Alliance players who already have the dwarves, who fulfill a similar fantasy despite some differences. When the Earthen first launched, their racial traits caused confusion among players. Due to lore reasons, they are essentially living stone constructs. They were unable to eat food. For anyone who plays high-end PvP or PvE content, this created real inconveniences, like not being able to quickly recover health before a boss pool or a battleground fight. As an alternative, the Earthen were given a racial satiety system. They consumed a special stone that granted secondary stats. In theory, this was meant to compensate for the inability to use regular food. And to be fair, it did solve some problems, but not all. For example, out-of-combat health regeneration remained noticeably less convenient. And because they couldn't consume stat food, Earthen players lost out on certain secondary stat bonuses available to other races. Over time, the developers tried to fix these issues. They increased the secondary stat bonuses granted by the Earthen satiety mechanic. They added special crystals sold for pocket change by a vendor, which acted as substitutes for mage food. They even introduced an additional racial ability that restores health and mana while sitting out of combat. But long term, these are minor details. Plenty of players genuinely like the new allied race. For Horde players, it was actually the first time they could play something resembling a dwarf without switching factions. Others simply liked the more rugged, crystalline, stone-forged aesthetic. So I wouldn't be surprised if the Earthen become significantly more common over time, especially since they've only just entered the game. But for now, they hold the title of the single least popular race in World of Warcraft. Standing almost next to them in terms of player population are the Mecha Gnomes, who make up just 0.9% of players. Their history closely mirrors that of the Earthen. Long ago, gnomes, just like the Earthen, were created from dense, durable elements. But due to the curse of flesh, these once mechanical beings became ordinary creatures of flesh and blood. Not all gnomes were content with this new state. One gnome king in particular became obsessed with reversing the curse and restoring his people to their original mechanical form. Driven by this desire, he abandoned his kingdom and led a group of followers to a place known as Mechagon. There, he founded a new realm where he and his subjects sought a way to undo the curse. But the king eventually descended into madness. Determined to cheat fate itself, he forced his people to undergo involuntary mechanization, replacing entire body parts with mechanical ones, whether the gnomes wanted it or not. That is why mechagnomes combine both organic components of flesh and blood with mechanical limbs such as arms or legs. Later, the king issued a decree declaring all non-mechanical beings smaller than a child to be outlaws. By the time of the battle for Azeroth, he had already devised a plan to convert every inhabitant of Azeroth into mechanical constructs. In short, it was Warcraft's own version of a dystopian cyberpunk scenario. And overall, the race's backstory is quite fascinating. But why is this race so unpopular? Let's start with their overall appearance. It is, frankly, an acquired taste, and one that many players didn't find appealing. Mechagnomes differ significantly from their ancient kin we encountered during Wrath of the Lich King. Instead of fully mechanical metal bodies, we ended up with something closer to a 50-50 mix of flesh and machinery. Many players found their base models eerily unsettling. Creating a stylish outfit or transmog for them can be particularly difficult, but more on that in a moment. Though, if you dig through the forums, you can find some solid examples. They're just the exception rather than the norm. Skepticism toward the race existed even back during Battle for Azeroth. When they were first introduced, players quickly reacted with a fair amount of negativity. Forum posts from that period are full of doubts about whether this allied race was even necessary, at least in this form. A common opinion was that Blizzard could have simply added mechanical customization options to regular gnomes, instead of creating what would become the least popular race in the game. Speaking of customization, there are issues here as well. Their appearance options are very limited, especially compared to most other races. Mechagnomes cannot use traditional gnome hairstyles or beards. They also cannot choose different eye colors, despite such models existing in the game. Transmogrification is also restricted. Because of story-driven reasons, mechagnomes have mechanical limbs, and those cannot be transmogged. Specifically, their hands and wrists cannot be changed. Pants will display only partially, with the upper part showing, but the legs themselves will always reveal mechanical components. All of this contributed to mechagnomes becoming the most forgotten race in the game. Considering that the Earthen, who appeared only in the War Within, have already nearly matched them in population, I'm certain that soon they will surpass mechagnomes, leaving the mechagnomes in last place once again. Not too far above the Mechagnomes sits another Battle for Azeroth race, the Kul Tiran humans. In the Second War, the Kul Tiran fleet became one of the greatest obstacles the Orcs faced at sea. They successfully sabotaged Horde naval missions, sank ships, and disrupted the Orcs' attempts to move troops from the south to the north of the continent. And in the Third War, they even intended to crush the Horde on the new continent, Kalimdor, where the Orcs fled in their search for a new home. Kul Tiras established several strongholds right under the Horde's nose. In Battle for Azeroth, we were able to visit their island for the first time in World of Warcraft, as well as explore their capital, Boralus. The gritty but imposing aesthetic of a dirty, storm-battered port city was preserved perfectly. The allied race itself reflects this character in its design. Their models are larger and more muscular than ordinary humans, perhaps even too muscular. Currently, this race accounts for about 1.5% of players. They often appeal to those who want to play humans, but prefer a broader, sturdier model. And in that regard, Kul Tirans are an ideal choice. From time to time, players ask developers to add a slim Kul Tiran body type. In Battle for Azeroth, we encountered not only the stockier islanders, but also tall, lean individuals. Their appearance would fit the rogue class perfectly, as rogues specialize in agility, stealth, and lethal precision. Unfortunately, despite fans' wishes, this customization option was never added to the game. Still, as an additional alternative model for humans, Kul Tirans are quite solid. A similar thing can be said about the High Mountain Tauren, who surpassed Kul Tirans by only 0.2%. We were introduced to them in Legion. They lived in harmony with the other races of the Broken Isles, dwelling mainly in mountainous regions. However, the arrival of the Burning Legion drove many inhabitants of the Isles insane, causing them to sever their alliances with the Tauren. Visually, High Mountain Tauren differ little from regular Tauren. Their horns are more elaborate and varied, and their bodies are adorned with tribal markings. Otherwise, they are nearly the same race. The same can be said about the Lightforged Draenei, whom we also encountered in Legion. The Army of the Light sought to purge our world of the Burning Legion, which had spent millennia destroying worlds and corrupting entire races. They share a common origin with the regular Draenei, and given that Draenei live for thousands of years, it is entirely possible that Lightforged Draenei and ordinary Draenei recognized each other by face when they reunited during Legion. Long ago, on the flourishing world of Argus, the Draenei civilization thrived, but the arrival of the Burning Legion led part of their leadership to join the demons. The Legion promised power and a brilliant future, one that ultimately ended in corruption. Those who refused to become part of the demonic army were forced to flee, as the Legion began hunting all who opposed them. A portion of the Draenei managed to escape Argus aboard ships. One crashed on Draenor and became the home of the Draenei we know today, while the other chose to take the fight directly to the Burning Legion. The inhabitants of this second ship became known as the Lightforged Draenei. They differ from their kin with lighter skin tones, silver hair, golden eyes, and bright, luminous adornments. In the overall population, Lightforged Draenei make up 1.8% of all players. Let's step away from allied races for a moment and talk about the more traditional playable races. At the very bottom of the ranking among the core races sit the gnomes and the goblins. The irony is hard to miss, considering that, lore-wise, these two ancient enemies despise each other and are constantly trying to outdo one another in matters of technology. Let's begin with the former, the gnomes. The history of this race is quite tragic. Much like their close allies, the dwarves, the gnomes supported the Alliance during the Third War. However, after Lord Aeron fell to the Scourge, the gnomes suddenly stopped responding to their allies' calls for aid. For a long time, no one understood why, until the Alliance finally uncovered the truth. While the plague was ravaging Lordaeron, a catastrophe unfolded within the gnomish kingdom. Their capital was overrun by aggressive trogs. The gnomes did not have the strength to fend off the assault, and so they were drawn into a long, brutal conflict that lasted nearly 5 years. And unfortunately for the gnomes, victory was not meant to be. The trogs broke through their defensive lines and destroyed many engineering complexes. The gnomish leader was forced to make a desperate decision. He irradiated the lower levels of the city in an attempt to kill the trogs, but the plan failed miserably. Not only did the trogs survive, but many gnomes mutated from the radiation, transforming into green hostile monsters. With their kingdom fallen, the surviving gnomes were forced to abandon their capital. Now, as for the gnomes as a playable race, since vanilla, gnomes have never ranked highly in popularity. According to 2005 data, among Alliance races, they were the least popular, accounting for only 8% of all players, slightly behind the dwarves. Meanwhile, night elves and humans dramatically overshadowed them, partly due to aesthetics and other player appeal factors. Today, gnomes make up 2.1% of players. It's hard to say why the number is so low. Players often mention that they don't like the race's comical nature and tiny stature, and indeed, their small size created far more inconvenience in earlier expansions than it does now. One of the biggest issues was mounting. Mounts used to scale according to the rider's race, so that a massive tauren wouldn't look ridiculous on a tiny mount, and small races like gnomes and dwarves wouldn't look comically oversized. But for gnomes, this caused a problem with shallow water. When gnomes stepped into even a small puddle, they would be dismounted, while taller races could run straight through without issue. This was especially annoying in Swamp of Sorrows and Zangammarsh, two swampy zones filled with shallow rivers and openings. This was eventually fixed by allowing mounts to simply swim, but for a long time, it was a real inconvenience. Their technological rivals, the goblins, sit slightly below them in popularity, at one point 8%. Although we first met this race back in Warcraft 2, where they fought alongside the orcs, we only became able to play them in Cataclysm. On their home island of Kezan, disaster struck. Due to Deathwing's awakening and the ensuing volcanic eruption, the goblins were forced to flee in panic. And because goblin society was heavily unequal, centered on wealth, and ruled by the monopolistic trade princes, the survivors found themselves in a grim social situation. Fortunately, they managed to find refuge within the Horde, and eventually built an entire new settlement near Orgrimmar in Adjara. Players often, and not without reason, view goblins as a greedy race obsessed with gold. Combined with their rather unconventional appearance, this stereotype likely contributes to their low popularity. Given a choice among all available races, many players are simply more inclined to pick an attractive elf, a noble orc, or a proud tauren instead of a scheming sharp-toothed goblin.
Mortal Kombat is one of the most popular video game franchises in the world, with 19 different games released over the last 30 years. Some are 2D, some 3D, and some are basically Hollywood blockbusters.
You got spunk for an old man. I like that.
But I always wanted to know which one of these games is considered the most important. So I'm playing every Mortal Kombat game ever made. Find out for myself. It's 1992 and a team of guys drops Mortal Kombat onto the world.
Dude, this is crazy.
Now remember, this is the early 90s, which means people dress like this, Michael Keaton is our one and only Batman, and fighting games look like this. Which made Mortal Kombat a pretty big deal for the time, because unlike its competitors, it's got realistic characters, ranging from Hollywood actors to whatever the heck Scorpion is.
Get over here!
Oh, and it's also got some of the most violent fights you can possibly imagine. I mean, you can literally melt off your opponent's skin. So that's a thing. But my favorite thing about Mortal Kombat is how a tiny team turned an incredibly simple game into video game history. But more on that later. It's 1 year later, and can we just talk about how much this game has changed in just a year?
Bro, these levels look insane.
To start, Mortal Kombat 2 adds 5 new characters, bumping that roster up from 7 to 12. We hilariously get new friendship and baby-based finishing moves. This guy says Toasty, becoming an international phenomenon for years to come, and straight up the music and atmosphere of Mortal Kombat 2 just feels incredible.
Dude, this looks insane. How was this made 30 years ago?
But the coolest thing about Mortal Kombat 2 isn't actually the game. It's how it was played. Because in 1993, everyone would gather around the arcades just to play Mortal Kombat, dishing out 50 cents for a single fight in front of your entire neighborhood community. Sure, you could play at home on a console, but back then, this was the true Mortal Kombat experience. No pressure, by the way. Today, playing games at the arcades isn't really a thing anymore, at least not like that. Meaning it's basically impossible to experience Mortal Kombat like you could 30 years ago.
Block, 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 and look at us.
Which is a pretty big problem, because if I'm gonna find which one of these games is responsible for making Mortal Kombat what it is today, then I need to experience them the way they were meant to be played. Which means I'm stuck. Unless I was somehow able to convince my loving wife and best pal to use our honeymoon savings on a custom arcade cabinet just so I could replicate the true Mortal Kombat experience by the end of this video.
I bought an arcade cabinet.
I love my wife. It's April 15th, 1995, and Ed and the team at Midway are in their element with Mortal Kombat 3.
Wait, there's no Scorpion?
Sort of. Remember, the 90s was when all your cousins would drop by for a sleepover just to play one game all frickin' night. And that was this game. We're talking takeout Pizza Hut, and if you were in my tax bracket, RC Cola. But what you might not know is there are actually two different versions of Mortal Kombat 3. The original and Ultimate Mortal Kombat, which released later in the year. Because like I mentioned earlier, the original was missing a few key things. Namely, everyone's favorite character, John Scorpion. So naturally I got that one to see what the heck the team was thinking. And even though this is the only game in the series to forget John Scorpion, there's still a lot here. First, we got even more finishing moves. Fatalities, friendships, and babalities, they're all still here. But with Mortal Kombat 3, Ed and the team go, what about animalities? And it's exactly like what it sounds like. The next thing that's new is that you can now punch people into completely different parts of the level.
Oh my god, that was incredible. That was actually awesome. Holy smokes, I don't even care that I lost.
And last but definitely not least, they added some wild new characters. I mean, straight up, Mortal Kombat 3 gives us not one, but two new cyborg assassins. A Native American shaman named Nightwolf, who literally summons spirit arrows, whatever the heck this is.
What is that?
And for some reason, a run-of-the-mill cop named Stryker, whose only thing seems to be that he wears his hat backwards. So, I think it's pretty clear which character I was gonna play.
Stryker's the best character, hands down, not even close.
Now, while I fight for my life, let's talk about how Mortal Kombat works, because the beauty of these games is that they stay pretty consistent with every release. Mostly. We'll touch on that later, trust me. Here's the basic idea. Mortal Kombat is a tournament held between multiple different realms, with the main two being Earthrealm and Outworld, and whoever wins this tournament gets the right to invade the others. But if we're being honest, at this point the story simply exists to have gods, cops, and whatever the heck this is,
seriously, what is that?
hit each other with cool special moves like these.
Special move? Let's go.
Which is easier than you might think. See, each character in Mortal Kombat can kick, punch, or block high or down low. But when you combine these in a specific order, you get special moves like Scorpion's famous "Get the fuck over here!" or Liu Kang's iconic bicycle kick. Now, for those of you who don't speak bicycle, what Liu Kang is trying to say is that each fight in Mortal Kombat is always a best of 3 rounds, meaning the first person to win 2 rounds wins the game.
Winner, winner, chicken dinner.
Thanks, Liu Kang. It's September 11th, 1997, which is one heck of an anniversary, and Midway drops Mortal Kombat 4, a brand new direction for the series. See, at this time, people now dress like this. George Clooney is one of 2 nipple-based Batmen, and for the first time ever, this Mortal Kombat releases on PlayStation 1 and N64 consoles, which is a big deal, because Mortal Kombat 4 marks the last game in the series that had been made for arcades. Speaking of which, How we doing over there, Goose?
This is a lot more complicated than I thought.
Fantastic, I knew you'd kill it, unlike anyone who grinded on the now outdated 2D games.
Wait, it's 3D?
That's right, Mortal Kombat 4 is the first game in franchise history to go 3D, meaning every character is now fully computer generated, making it look closer to other popular fighting games at the time like Tekken. And with this technology, Midway uses it to create some of the craziest intros I've ever seen.
Thousands of years ago, in a battle with the fallen elder.
I bet I could pull that look off.
But believe it or not, there's more, because now that fights were in 3D space, it changed the game completely, allowing players to dodge attacks simply by moving in or out.
Dude, that's so cool.
Which is definitely something to keep in mind when fighting some of the newer characters.
My god, who is this girl?
Ah, great question, Goose. That is Tanya, a disgusting nightmare that I absolutely hate, not to be confused with the literal disgusting nightmare that is meat. Who not only looks like if ground beef and Mr. Clean had a baby, but one of 8 brand new characters, bringing Mortal Kombat 4's roster of 3D generated characters all the way up to 18. But as you're gonna see later in this video, these Mortal Kombat characters only get crazier from here.
I hear you've got quite a scream.
And you're definitely not gonna wanna miss it. Did you know that Mortal Kombat is the reason that every game now has a rating? People say that. So huge. 1 month after Mortal Kombat 4 drops, the team at Midway decides to give us this.
You will fail.
The very first single-player game in Mortal Kombat history, which, as the name implies, focuses entirely on Sub-Zero.
Sub-Zero.
Now, for those of you who don't know, Mortal Kombat Mythologies is a side-scrolling game where every encounter is supposed to turn into a traditional Mortal Kombat fight like the main games. And on paper, I won't lie, this sounds fantastic. Except that's not what we got. Is it, Edward?
Please.
Because for some reason, they decided to make the game unnecessarily difficult and basically impossible to control.
Wait, how do I turn? Oh god.
But then, as if to almost troll me, the game has what I can only describe as the cheapest cartoon deaths I've ever seen. The first time it happened to me, I just stared in disbelief. I hate this game. I've never been more afraid to play something than I am right now. That intro was like if James Bond and Austin Powers had a baby, which makes no sense. But let's back up. Mortal Kombat Special Forces is Midway's second attempt at a single-player Mortal Kombat game. So yeah, I'm nervous. It released June 29, 2000 as a top-down action-adventure game starring Jax from Mortal Kombat 2, who, yes, has metal arms. But let's cut to the chase, because you probably want to know if this spin-off is just as big of a train wreck as the last one. Yes. But I love it. Now look, I know I shouldn't love this game. Heck, I probably shouldn't even like this game. The combat feels incredibly janky. Entering small crevices like these feels basically impossible.
Let me in!
And the voice acting is interesting, to say the least.
We have just arrived at the location and we are awaiting your orders. Wait a minute. What the? It's a trap. Let's get back.
But everything about Mortal Kombat Special Forces just felt like a time capsule to me, because they just don't make games like this anymore. Games I can only describe as PS1 jank.
What am I supposed to do?
And look, to be fair, I can see how Special Forces could eventually be good with a few small tweaks. I mean, we add a little Batman-style combat over here, a few checkpoints so I don't have to restart the entire thing every time I die. Double down on the whole James Powers vibe, and who knows? Special Forces 2 could be a sleeper hit. Just something I would never say about this thing.
How did you pick this up?
But there's one thing that's clear about Special Forces. It may not be responsible for making Mortal Kombat what it is today, but it does show us that this world might have a lot more potential than we could have ever imagined. And based off that, something tells me this next game is gonna blow our frickin' minds.
New Cybot. Fight! Scorpion wins.
Yeah, I don't think I like this game.
On November 22nd, 2002, Mortal Kombat enters a brand new era, something fans of the series call the 3D era, because Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance not only continues on the gameplay from Mortal Kombat 4, but it marks the first traditional game to only release for consoles, meaning two things. Number one, arcades are officially dead. And number two, the world's changed once again. See, at this time, Eminem and 50 Cent have completely impacted how grown men dress. Kevin Conroy is keeping Batman sounding absolutely seductive.
I am Batman!
And video game consoles have evolved to the much more powerful PlayStation 2 and Xbox consoles, which you see immediately when playing Deadly Alliance.
Like these graphics, Sonya?
But the graphics aren't the only thing that got a bump, because Deadly Alliance might be rocking the most features I've seen in a Mortal Kombat game so far. This time around, it's got 21 total characters, 10 of which are completely new for the series, like the blind sword fighting warrior Kenshi, Sub-Zero's appropriately named apprentice Frost, this thing, a guy in a mocap suit, and a vampire who will eventually become Megan Fox.
You Outworlders believe yourselves so superior.
This series is weird, but somehow they go even further, because they also had a brand new mode called the Crypt, which lets players grind out hundreds of brand new pieces of content completely free, and they also changed the way people hit each other, because now every character has a new weapon-based stance that they can change on the fly, adding a lot of extra depth to the fighting this time around. However, with Deadly Alliance, we can see the teams putting a lot more effort on the player experience, adding Conquest, a new challenge-based mode to help you learn every character's fighting style, and starting the game with a bang. Because this game straight up opens with Liu Kang, aka the only Mortal Kombat character to speak bicycle, and the lead of the hit 1995 movie with the song no one's allowed to use, dying. In fact, this is technically the only game in Mortal Kombat history where Liu Kang isn't a playable character. But while losing Liu Kang must have sucked for the two people who pick him over Scorpion, I think we can all agree that this game is 10,000 times better than this thing. And I swear to God, if the next game is a handheld game, I'm gonna lose my frickin' mind. Edward, I'm not happy. Now, based off the last one, I'm obviously terrified to play this thing, but after some words of encouragement, I popped in the game to see what nightmare awaited me. And what I saw frickin' blew my mind. Releasing August 25th, 2003, Mortal Kombat Tournament Edition seems to be everything Advanced should have been. It's got 3D movement, weapon stances, and somehow actual Mortal Kombat level violence on a device that's made for children.
Scorpion wins. Fatality.
How they got this thing to run on a Game Boy is beyond me.
Won't lie, this might be one of the coolest Mortal Kombat games I've played so far, and clearly the Mortal Kombat team agrees because they're actually including it in 2025's Legacy Collection.
Which honestly would have been great to know beforehand given how much this thing cost me. Guys, my wife can never know about this.
It's October 4th, 2004, aka the time when $60 bought you a game you could play for years. And Deception is definitely one of those games. Once again, it sets the mood with one of the craziest intros I've ever seen. How they keep coming up with ideas is beyond me. Raiden dies, then doesn't, then a giant dragon shows up. It's wild. But if you're just as confused as I am, don't worry, they have Conquest, which they've changed now to be a story mode, a first in Mortal Kombat history. And while I know this might not look like much today, I'm telling you, everything about the way this looks and sounds